All right. Got a great video for you guys today. A little bit under the weather, so bear with me. It's my first time doing this. But long story short, just the other day, I got promoted to Black Belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And over the last few days, I've had some time to kind of reflect upon the last 12 years, got some good ideas to share with you, some lessons, the good, the bad, everything in between. And first things first, who is this video for? Obviously, if you're a practitioner of Jiu Jitsu, this is going to help you out. But I want this video to find people out there that haven't started training yet. Maybe they're feeling a little hesitant. I don't want to get beat up. I don't want to feel embarrassed. Well, I'm here to help you out through that. I'm here to encourage you, empower you, not just with this video, but this channel. And I hope I can do that. Now, what are the contents of this video? I'm going to share with you why I started Jiu Jitsu. Your reasons might be a little bit different. What my first class was like to kind of help maybe give you some expectations. I'm sure yours will be a little bit different, but my first experience was actually tremendous. And competition, how competing is going to help you develop your jiu-jitsu skills. Now, I know it's not for everybody, but I think I have some valuable lessons to share there. And then I have some overarching lessons learned or words of wisdom, so to speak. So let's take it to the top, why I started jiu-jitsu. So the reason why I started training jiu-jitsu is likely much different than yours. When I was a senior in high school, I was a teenager. When we're teenagers, we do dumb things, but this guy was talking smack. I was talking it back to him. We had a little scuffle and I got the upper hand. Now, truth be told, I'd never boxed, wrestled, grappled, anything before. I had no idea what I was doing. I got lucky. But after that took place, people were calling me and texting me, hey, heard you got the upper hand and all this stuff. All things that kind of feed into the ego that help give people a perceived increase in social status, whereas if you lose, your perceived social status goes down. But as these people were calling me, texting me, I also heard through the grapevine that this guy wanted to run into me. He wanted to cross paths with me. He wasn't happy with how things went. He wanted another shot at the title, so to speak. And I was terrified of that. Now, inside each of us, there's something called the internal audience. You need to listen to it. You cannot ignore it. You can lie to your friends. You can lie to your family, coworkers. Most people on social media are lying about things, right? But you can't lie to yourself. Your internal audience is always going to tell you the truth. And mine was screaming with the loudest alarm possible. You do not want to run into this guy. You don't know how to fight. Fighting is stupid, which it is. I'll get into that a little bit later. You have no idea what you're doing, and he's not a wuss, right? You got lucky. And one of the best ways to kind of solve problems when you're dealing with one is to jot down a whole bunch of potential solutions. You then take those solutions and kind of proof them against that problem. Then you typically go with what's going to yield the best result. Now, what were some of my options here? Ignore this guy at all costs or run away from him at all costs. Kind of makes me look scared. Do I try my luck against him and take on a whole bunch of risk? That's not a good idea for obvious reasons. And street fights, you have nothing to gain, everything to lose, but we'll talk about that in a bit. What was my next option? I knew I couldn't fight. I couldn't defend myself whatsoever. Yeah, I played football and I lifted weights and all that, macho stuff, but I had no idea what I was doing. So when you don't know what you're doing, and there's a saying, a wise person knows what they don't know, you have to call someone, reach out to someone, consult with someone who knows what they're doing. And there was a gym in the area that had jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, all that good stuff. I filled out a little info waiver online. The owner called me and got back to me pretty quickly and said, got a class tonight at 5 p.m. You're going to have a great time. I'm very excited to see you there. And I lied to him right away and said, I'm busy. I can't do it. He said, okay, well, I'm disappointed to hear that, but you got my number. Call me, text me anytime. I pulled over to the side of the road. I remember exactly where I was. This memory is burned into my memory of exactly where I was. And the reason is, what I did in the next 5 minutes has had a monumental effect on how my life has gone and why I'm still doing jiu-jitsu to this day, many years later. I thought about it. Why am I scared? What am I hesitant for? I didn't want to go to the gym and get beat up. I didn't want to feel embarrassed or ashamed. I didn't want people to make fun of me or ridicule me. And that's all ego-based stuff. So I decided, you know what, screw it, I'm calling this guy back. I'm gonna fess up to him and let him know everything that's on my mind, and I did. And he said, listen, I guarantee you're gonna have a great time. You won't get hurt, you won't feel embarrassed. Come on down, I'm promising you. So 5 p.m. rolls around, I go to the class, and I had a fantastic time. I didn't get hurt, I didn't get embarrassed, all those things. Everyone was very friendly. I got introduced to everybody at the beginning of the class, shook everyone's hand. Everyone was so nice. There were some girls in the class too, which, it is a sport or a hobby that girls are pretty hesitant to, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it's harder for them to come in the gym, and here I am. I'm actually in shape, I'm young, I got no excuses, and I was drumming them all up in my head. But anyways, I got paired up with a guy that was much smaller than me. He was able to sweep me, submit me, choke me, control me, the whole 9 yards. But right away I fell in love. I was leaving high school, I wasn't going to the NFL, even though at that time I didn't want to believe it. And I needed something to do. I needed to challenge myself physically. I needed competition. And jiu-jitsu quickly became my home and what I decided I wanted to do. So that was my reason for starting jiu-jitsu and what my first class was like. Yours are probably different, but when it comes to the first class, you're probably gonna have a great time. You have all these things that can go wrong in your head. So stop thinking about all the things that can go wrong and start thinking about all the things that can go right. One of the biggest common denominators of people who try their first class is they love it, so give it a shot. So moving on, competition, and why I feel it's so important to improving your skills when it comes to jiu-jitsu. In a skyscraper, you have an elevator that goes all the way to the top, but then you have what's called a scissor staircase. It goes up a little bit, up, 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 and then you get to the top. I hate to tell you, when it comes to increasing your skill set in jiu-jitsu, there's no elevator that's gonna take you to the top, but there is a staircase that can get you there as quickly as possible. Now, there's two sides of this. We've all heard it before, book smarts and street smarts. When you're in the gym, drilling, getting your positional training in, that's book smarts. When you go to compete, you start learning things about yourself. The challenges, the nervousness starts coming back. Who are these people watching? This isn't my training partner. I don't know what they're gonna do. All those new things are gonna start happening to you. So you go to the gym, you get some book smarts. You go to compete, you get some street smarts. Now you go back to the gym with that new data and you get some more book smarts, and then so on and so forth. And before you know it, your skills are really sharp and you start getting a lot better. Now, a couple things of competition for me. The first time ever that I competed in jiu-jitsu, I'd only been training about 2 months, and I got paired up with a huge muscle-bound guy, and he just destroyed me on points. He wasn't very good, but neither was I, but nonetheless, it was still very fun. I got in there pretty quickly, and I don't regret it. But over the years, I've competed dozens and dozens of times. I've had easy wins, I've had grueling wins. I randomly got paired up with a guy who was smaller than me. I didn't take him serious, and he annihilated me on points. So I've had pretty much every experience in between when it comes to jiu-jitsu, gi, no gi, submission only, round robin, right? I've done it all. On top of it, I also wanted to challenge myself and take on a few amateur MMA fights. This isn't for everybody, but I learned a lot during my training, more than the actual competition itself, but during the training, I stopped doing like gi or off my back jiu-jitsu. I started doing wrestling, striking, kind of the in-between hybrid catch wrestling game. I got really good at front chokes. I got really good at wrestling and top pressure, and that's kind of become my style. Now, I still have that aggressiveness, I still have that grit, so when I don't compete in MMA anymore, but when I do jiu-jitsu, that's my style, and people know me for that. And a funny thing about jiu-jitsu styles is people's styles often reflect their personality. I have a friend who's buck wild, party man, right? He is extremely dangerous for the first minute or two when it comes to a live round. If he locks something on, you're in for it. But after that, he gets really tired and you can kind of have your way with him. And a lot of us out there, we know these types of people. The next ones, people who are very calm. They're very calculated. They're very easygoing. And their jiu-jitsu is kind of that flow roll type. And it reflects their personality. So what I'm getting at with that is, you come up with your own style. I have long arms, so front chokes really worked well for me. They might not work for you. You might be a leg lock person. You might be an armbar person. Whatever it is for you, we're all gonna have things that we're better at and some things that we're not so good at. So embrace your style and make it your own. This is your journey. So to close out, here are some words of wisdom or lessons that I've learned along the way. You wanna train for the right reasons, not street fights, right? I'm here to tell you right now, there is nothing to gain when it comes to some sort of fight like that. Absolutely everything to lose. Your livelihood, freedom, right? All that stuff. Don't do it. I'm going to give you 2 techniques that are going to serve you best when it comes to some sort of altercation like that. Number 1, if you see some sort of situation brewing like that, evade it at all costs. You can kind of tell when someone's agitated. Just walk away from it, right? Treat it like a dog you don't know. Just get away from it as quickly as possible. But if you can't get away from it and something is coming your way, keep the ability to sprint in your back pocket. Multiple times a year, I go to a football field nearby. I do about 8 to 12 sprints as fast as I possibly can. It keeps me young, but it also gives me the ability to get away from a threat. So that's your number 1 technique when it comes to a street fight or an altercation. So keep that in mind. Moving on, focus on skill acquisition at all costs. Don't worry about the belt or the stripes. Those will come with time. If you're so focused on your belt or your stripes, that's your ego speaking. You're so focused on your social status and what you're outwardly projecting to the world, you're focusing your time and energy on the wrong things. You're not focusing on actually developing your skills. Because at the end of the day, a belt only covers 2 inches of your backside and you have to cover the rest. So what's the purpose of even trying to buddy up with the coach? You see it all the time. People want to say a joke, coach is nearby, or they wait to do their new technique in front of coach so that, oh, maybe he'll remember that I did that, he'll give me a stripe or he'll promote me, right? That's not a great way of thinking. It's not going to help your game. That's the cart before the horse. But if you focus all your time and energy in mastering takedowns, and 1 week it's takedowns, the next week it's side control. You want to learn as many things as possible in side control. Then it's triangle chokes. Then it's back take, right? You want to focus on sharpening all those weapons. So as time goes on, your skills increase, you can perform better, and the belts and the promotions and the stripes and all that stuff will come to you naturally. So please focus on skill acquisition at all costs. Next, you want to train at a gym that values you. I got a few things written down here. First things first, right? There's 2 different types of gyms out there. There's a regular gym that you show up, warm up, do some drilling, little live training. Everyone laughs and has a good time. That's most gyms, and that's fantastic. But there's also gyms out there, what I'm gonna term a competition gym. They're focused on competing only. And those gyms are very iron, sharpens iron type of mindset. I've trained at them before. I used to train at one for a long time, and some of the most skilled, prolific competitors have come out of that gym. I've been paired up with them. My Jiu Jitsu training was extremely difficult, but as time went on, I hit my 30s, I got married, bought a house, had a second job. My priorities were shifting, focusing around maybe starting a family. I didn't really care about competition so much, but the people I was paired with, that's all they cared about, like I did when I was in my 20s, right? As time went on, it became a chore to train. I didn't really have that much fun anymore, so I switched gyms. One that was actually a little closer to home. It's no love lost to anyone at the previous gym, but this was a better fit for me. It was exactly what I wanted. It was closer to home. I could spend less time driving there, and I'm just having more fun. It's given me a second win, so to speak, in my jiu-jitsu journey. So you have to do what's best for you, and you have to train at a gym that values you. So here's some funny things that I've seen along the way. I've trained at gyms in California, Colorado. I've competed in multiple different states, right? But I've seen this. And if you've seen some things like this before, or you want to share something, just drop a comment below. I'd love to hear it. Some of these are just so funny. Let's find it. You want to be able to approach the coach, all right? If you approach the coach about an unsafe training partner, someone who's hurting people in the gym and they don't want to hear it because maybe that guy, girl, whatever, is really good at competing and wins a lot of medals for the gym, and they don't want to hear it, get out of there. They don't value you. You should be able to go up to your coach or the owner of the gym and say, hey, I feel unsafe because of this, or this is, not the best situation. This is what's going on. You should be able to approach your coach. You're a paying customer. You're allowed to do that. Now, also, there's this weird mindset where people get a black belt in jiu-jitsu. They like the term being called a professor, or they feel like they're an expert or some life guru, and they're not. They're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and most times out of 10, they're a white belt everywhere else in life. Their communication skills, the way that they talk to people, they don't really care about, what you might have to say. So be careful of those people, keep them out of your life. Listen, I've met Frank Mir, 2-time UFC heavyweight black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I'm just a fan. I went to this comedy show and I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, how's it going?" He goes, "Hey, I'm Frank. Nice to meet you. What's your name?" With a big smile on his face. 275 pounds, 2-time champ. If he can be nice to you, what's your excuse, all you other black belts out there? Let's start raising the bar. Listen, people are white belts, blue belts. They're a little bit nervous. They're asking for help. Be approachable. Be nicer to them. Now, a couple last things on this point. I've trained at gyms that have been filthy. There's all kinds of things out there like ringworm and whatnot. You want to avoid that. Train at a gym that's clean. That's fun. The coach is approachable. You're a paying customer. You deserve to get value out of that. If you're not feeling valued, find a new gym. Now, let's get to the last lesson here. So we've arrived at the last lesson I'm going to share with you guys. You should tap fast, tap early, and tap often. Number one, if you don't tap, you're going to get hurt. You don't want to be out of the gym doing physical therapy or surgery and all that. It's going to take you away from the mat. So what are you going to not tap for? Number two, when you do tap, you have two options. You can get mad about it. You can pound the mat, you can pout, you can frown, you can drive home, really angry. Or when you tap, immediately take a screenshot of what just happened, how you got there, what your training partner or opponent was doing that got you in that bad position. What mistakes did you make? That's data. That's data that you're going to need so that you can improve and not make that same mistake. I mean, we live in the age of some of the most powerful artificial intelligence. And when these machines, or whatever the heck they are, hit these roadblocks, what do? Do they hit the roadblock, get tapped, and then drive home angry? No. They hit that roadblock. They say, what is this? What can we do to get around it? What are some of the indicators that this was coming, so that the next time they don't even hit the roadblock. The next time they see the roadblock coming and they work their way around it. That's what you need to do when you tap. There's no shame in it. You don't want to get hurt and you want to actually learn. Tapping is learning. So please tap early, tap often, and tap fast, right? Now, if you're a brown belt or, advanced purple belt, black belt, right? My opinion, what I've been doing at my newer gym where I'm paired up with white belts and blue belts, I let them get me into bad positions. They have the, upper hand, and then I fight out of that. That's helped me stay sharp. It's also let them grow. But it does put me behind the 8 ball, so I have been tapping more. Because what am I going to get out of it if I show up and I just blast double people like the MMA days? I just top pressure and drive my forehead into them and make them exhausted and get an arm triangle. Do I do that sometimes? Of course. But do I do that all the time? Absolutely not. They're not going to grow, and it's only going to hold me back. What I would rather do is increase their skills over time. Now I got blue belts submitting me, because you're the average of the 5 to 7 people around you in life. At least that's what they say. The same goes for your training partners. So if you're an advanced belt, help those around you. Don't be a jerk and just blast double people. So they're going to be having the upper hand on you. So once again, you'll be tapping fast, early, and often. But with that being said, that's really the entirety of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have any comments or anything you want to share below, just drop a comment. If you found value in it, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more empowering, encouraging videos just like this. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.